right, welcome to One Nation of Sports Locker Magazine Extra. I'm your host, Kirk DeMars, and we are missing my co-host, Jay Gill, tonight. He had some work that he had to stay late for, so of course we're going to miss his humor, as he calls himself, Sasquatch. But I've got a great guest on tonight, a great man right here in mid-Missouri. He has a lot of different things that he's involved in. We're going to talk about a few in particular tonight, and you guys are going to really enjoy hearing from my guest, Reid Millard. So let's just go ahead and bring him on in. Reid, how you doing?
Hey, doing great tonight. Kirk, how you
Good.
doing?
I'm doing wonderful. We it took us a little bit to get going. We had a few technical difficulties, but that's the age that we live in, isn't
That is correct. It
it?
but we got it all shook out.
We did. We did. Hey, first of all, thank you for all the things that you do in our community and throughout mid-Missouri. We really appreciate your involvement and your whole team. Just a great job you do.
Well, you're sure welcome. Central Missouri is a great place to live and awesome bunch of people here, so we like to be involved in the communities we serve.
Yeah, and again, you all do a fantastic job. With that in mind, this past weekend, yeah, there was an event out at the Capitol Mall. Why don't you tell us a little bit about all the different race cars that were out there and just kind of that event in general?
Sure. Well, this has been put together for quite a few years, but Ted Welshmeyer, who races the number 21, I think it's super stock car. Anyway, last number of years he's put it together, and with COVID and everything, it's kind of a little slow there for a few years, but it's back together. It's the biggest show they ever had out there, and he does an awesome job. Uh, you guys maybe remember years ago we helped out Ted Welshmeyer with some steel for the 428th Engineering Division out of Jeff City, and we were able to help armor. I think it was like 72 vehicles. So
Wow.
Ted worked at that. He was a one of the mechanics, and the guys in that asked me to do it. And between us and IEI out there in Apache Flats, Industrial Engineering
Mhm.
Incorporated, we got the steel together. But Kurt has continued to race. They did a really nice feature on him on one of those shows that lasts for about an hour. So
Uh-huh.
uh, it was pretty cool. And Ted's put this together. We're all into helping our veterans. We're into the big thing is the honor flight here in Central Missouri.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about that honor flight? I mean, that is a big deal. Number one, why is it so important to our veterans and just what it means to you guys?
Well, personally, I've had a privilege of going on one of those flights and being a guardian. And what that entails is you go with in my case, I went with a couple different guys. One was Ralph Gordon, who worked at the funeral home, and he was about 90, and his brother was, I think, 88. So they were World War II veterans, and I was able to go with them. They were both wheelchair bound, so it's a lot of work. But when you get there, it's just nonstop, going from this, going to that, and I tell you, they have a great time on this trip.
Well, anytime we see anything, when those vets are taking those trips, and you see just the raw emotion that they have from being able to attend that, and I mean that's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Absolutely. The coordination, Central Missouri Honor Flight's one of the most well-ran, bigger honor flights in America, and that's just not saying. That's just what it is. They do a tremendous job. The group up there at Columbia, they meet at the Courtyard by Marriott there the night before, and then get up early in the morning, take a bus up to St. Louis, catch a Southwest Airlines flight. They're escorted out of Baltimore Washington Airport by police escort straight through town and then straight up to where the memorials are.
Read along with that, there's a lot of other people that get involved as far as their help in putting those things together. What do you appreciate about the the different people that are organizing that and putting it together? What I mean, you see the passion that they have, and you've experienced it
Yes.
firsthand.
Well, first of all, the Guardians they come on and they take care of. the honoree or honored flight people, and what they do is they know ahead of time if there's any medications they have to take, anything that's special for that diet for that person. So they got a full onslaught of what to do for that person. Then you have the ground force here at Columbia, which takes care of getting everything ready to go. Then they step on the bus, they go to the airport. You got a ground force and people welcoming them at the St. Louis airport. You have the same down at Washington, Baltimore airport, and then the same when they get there. So you have all the support group throughout the process. It's really amazing. And then the other thing I like seeing the Boy Scouts come, the
Hmm.
Highway Patrol, the Patriot Guard, the National Guard. Everybody participates in bringing the troops back in off of the veterans back off of the buses. They introduce them, their name, their rank, and what town they're from. So it's
Hmm.
really, if you haven't gone to it, it's pretty amazing. Especially you see about 200 to 400 bikes come through on the procession
Yeah.
in, and it's a great escort.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I was going to ask you about that. From what I understand, it's a pretty impressive sight, just again, just the whole thing just really makes it special for them. So again, thank you guys for being a part of that and all that you do. Um, Millard Family Racing. What I noticed that out at the mall you had car number 14, had that sitting in the mall. What's it take to get those things in the mall?
Well, and they're not too bad. We just push them in. The car only weighs about 2,000 pounds, and it's easy to push in. So
Yeah.
it's not a real big deal. It's not like a big pickup truck that weighs 6,500 pounds or a car that weighs 4,400 pounds. So these are pretty easy to get in and out. They had a mix of modified street stocks, super stocks, late models, some drag cars, some hot rods. So it was a really nice show. And then Ted, I assume the guys were from the 428, had the Humvee out there,
Mm.
and then they had a silent auction, raised a lot of money. Their goal was $10,000 this year. I haven't heard the final count, but I'm sure they raised it.
Yeah, and along with that, I mean, I think it's great to be able to have a facility like Capitol Mall being able to put that on and have number one, the parking to be able to do that. Because from what I understand, didn't they have some street drifters come in from California or something like that?
Yeah, I think I've seen a bunch of tracks or skid or spin marks on the other side. Would be the south side of the parking
Uh-huh.
lot where Suzy used to be. So that was pretty cool. Look, I didn't get to see it, but I seen all the tracks.
Yeah,
Looked like
they
they
may
had a good time. Yeah,
they may not like the tracks on the concrete out there, but hey, as long as they had fun, I guess that's all
it's
right.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all about having a little experience.
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I think Kirk, and I appreciate everything you do on your show. The thing about the mall show, it's been going on for a long time. In fact, I remember 2005, Carl Edwards just came off of winning some big races and came out. It was a great show. And but I'm telling you, Ted Welshmeyer and his crew did an awesome job out there.
Yeah, I get to see pictures of it and I get to see video footage and yeah, it's definitely an event and it's a great thing that we have right here in Jefferson City to be able to put on. And again, for a great cause. It's just absolutely a great cause. Uh,
That is, and you need to go ahead.
no, you're good. Go ahead.
So yeah, we start our. I've already raced down at Daytona, Florida, at the short track there at Volusia. So when you line up, I usually just make sure I know who I'm going behind. So I was lining up for a heat race, and I knew I was behind like the number 97, but then the number 6 pulled up on my left side, and that was Cal Larson. So that's who I
Okay.
have to race against.
Well, that's a name right there, right?
Right.
That's good.
But he's a great kid. A lot of times I park next to him. He definitely has the ability to race.
Yeah.
Me, I just do it for fun. I have a great
Well,
time.
that's the important thing. And but it's fun to be able to compete as well. So that's good. Reed, I want to ask you real quick. I mean, you put together the motorsports park up in Moberly. Tell us a little bit about that and how that all came about.
So I've raced up there for different years and always had a good time. And the track's always it had a hard time making it. Uh, it was going to probably sit empty last year, which it did most of the year. And then I just worked something out with the owner and bought the track. But then we also started a 501c3 not for profit called the American Motorsports Association. And what we've done with that is try to bring different things to the track, but also education. We're looking forward to trying to work with like state tech and using the guys that do the heavy equipment operations, come up and learn how to prep a track, make a motocross track, and also a monster truck track. So we're working with them. Then we want to work with the University of Missouri, which happens to be the number one journalism school in America, and the kids that coming out of the program, they need time to look about getting interviews and stuff like that. So we're going to try to work with them and let them come up and interview all the drivers. We're going to make some really cool venues up there to where they can do the interviews. Have like an old '60s NASCAR garage and all decorated up, and where the guys can come in. We'll even interview fans and so forth. And yeah, we're going to make it. I believe we'll have a real successful program.
That's great. What do you have coming up this year out there?
Well, we have a number of things. One thing, the locals really want to race. We do want to compete with the local tracks Saturday and Friday night, or Friday and Saturday nights. So we came up with the Tuesday. But before we did it, I mean, we do our homework. We feel Tuesday night's going to be really well accepted.
Hmm.
And this, we're going to race from say 7 to 9:30. So we won't be doing a lot of heats. So for 15 cars, we'll have two heats. And for 30 cars, we'll only have two heats, because our goal is to let the guys race locally, but also get out and get it done by 9:30, because people have to go to work the next day, even though it is summertime. So
Yeah.
we'll have 10 races. We'll have, I believe, five different classes, and each class will get to race 8 nights, and it should be a lot of fun. We
Yeah.
got Bobo the car mechanic's going to be kind of like our rodeo clown, and
Okay.
and he will interact with the flagman. So we think that's going to be pretty entertaining. Uh, I'll talk a little bit about the Wiener Nationals last year, if we got time to talk
Yeah.
about
Oh
that.
yeah. Absolutely.
But so the Wiener Nationals came about the year before. We had a boy that was our tow truck driver, and he was in an accident out on the freeway by Kingdom City and was fatally injured. And so what happened? I said, "Hey, we need to get together and make some, you know, raise some money for his family."
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, we were able to raise about 10,000. But the Wiener Nationals, everything in racing for us is called a national. So if you're in Florida during the summertime, it's called the Summer Nationals. Out in Arizona during the winter time, it's the Winter Nationals. Or
Hmm.
Diamond, or excuse me, Lucas Oil is called the Diamond in the Dirt. So they call it the Diamond Nationals. So I said, what can we do up here to be different, but a little more whimsical, a little more fun? And so I always seen that Wienermobile parked out by
Uh-huh.
the hot dog factory that Oscar
Yeah.
Mayer owns. Did my research on that, found out it's the only hot dog factory they own, and it is the largest hot dog factory in the world. So
Wow.
we contacted Renee in my office. We got in contact with Oscar Mayer. They love to do it. They are our pace car each year, which is really cool having a Wienermobile, because it's
It
such
is.
an iconic deal. So, and then we do something different also in our business model. We have a stage across the front from the grandstands. So every time something comes up, instead of seeing a grader out there prepping track, or them trying to get through a wreck that's going to take 20 minutes to clear up, we
Hmm.
throw somebody up on stage. So this past year we had Miss Ferguson from down in Jeff City. She sang on three or four different Motown
Uh-huh.
songs. Really, really did it. incredible job. Sylvia Ferguson. A
Uh-huh.
lot of people know her, and people love her up there. Then we had a motorcycle. Uh, Terry, get Terry's last name. Anyway, Terry Russell did a motorcycle jump, and
Uh-huh.
the kids were all lined up and down the front of the bleachers up there watching. So he did an incredible job. Flipped a few times up in the air and just gets the crowd going. But one of the things we had besides racing, which I mean, knocked it out of the park, was we had like in the top five Michael Jackson impersonators. He's Casey Sunshine out of Kansas
Okay.
City. Man, he knocked it out of the park. I mean, it was like one guy came up and says, "Hey, Michael Jackson's the best entertainer ever," and he was acting like the guy was really out there. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, so that's what we do. We pick it up. We have a wiener or hot dog eating contest, and we have the trophy ladies are uh, they do a good job and kind of get the crowd going and everything. So
Hmm.
that's and then our racing was incredible. What made it incredible is that we had our racers from around the region here locally, and then from out further out, and then some from out of state that were really fast. So they were slicing and dicing around there, and it was pretty entertaining.
Oh, that's
So
great.
it was a great night. Yep.
Yeah. I know you have a director that works for you that's a pretty talented singer as well. I think has she been up there to sing yet, Andrea?
Yeah, Andrea Knipp. She runs the stage for us,
Hmm.
and so she gets the crowd going, and she sings. She sung the national anthem this year.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, got an amazing talent.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of amazing talent, we'll get to that about all the different people that work for you. But before we do that, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.
The news says Gen Z is struggling. I've got news for them.
I wait tables, but last week I built a field hospital.
I put out a forest fire.
I stopped 1,000 attackers.
At a natural disaster.
I've saved lives.
And led a team on patrol.
I serve.
While I go to school full time.
While I work full time.
The greater the challenge, the stronger we become.
Ever wish you could choose the days or shifts you work each week? You can. At CNS Business Services, they're adapting to the way people want to work. CNS is working with area employers, establishing new, innovative ways to work with flexible schedules. Flexible scheduling is designed to find employment that suits your lifestyle. Whether you're a student, a retiree, or need extra income, flexible scheduling at CNS allows you to decide when you work. Call CNS. Your schedule, you're in control. CNS Business Services.
Say yes to CNS.
Well, we appreciate our sponsors, the Missouri Army National Guard and CNS Business Services, and they do an outstanding job not only for our community, Mid-Missouri, but especially we want to just say thank you for all that they do as far as the work in our community and as well as protecting and serving our country. So we appreciate them. We had a great interview so far with Reid Millard, and we're going to go ahead and bring him back on here for segment two, and we'll have just a quick few questions that is actually appropriate in the speed round after this next segment. So we'll get to that here in just a moment. All right, Reid. Hey, thank you so much again for taking your time. I'm not going to take too much more of it, but got a few more questions I want to ask you if that's all right.
Sure.
Okay. Hey, why don't you tell us about Millard Family Racing Team? Why don't you tell us about your team and how important they are to you and how they keep everything at such a high level of performance?
So over the years, I didn't start racing until I was 40. I mean, I grew up around it where I grew up in Ohio. And we used to, as kids, ride 8, 10, 12 years old, ride in the back of the pickup truck all the way down to Tyler Motor Speedway, which was about 100 miles away, I believe. And, just a couple chase lounges in the back and then ride all the way home at 2 o'clock in the morning. And so that kept in my blood. And then finally they said, hey, you got to get out of here. You work too much. So instead of picking up golfing, I went to racing. And Mike Crump, who I sponsored with Vic Bentley, was the one I went to. And he said, I just do late models. So first thing I ever did was race a late model at today at the State Fair Speedway. And then as we moved on, the last couple of years, Chris Carter's been helping me. Mike Crump and his brother Mark Crump did it forever, and also Chet Mackney. But now Chris Carter's helping me, and Chris is a local guy there. He does a great job,
Uh-huh.
and we've been racing together, and along with his son Kyle, and we have some. A couple of years ago, we got a new racer aboard, a young man by the name of Caden Klatt, who at age 12 won the super late model
Wow.
track championship in Moberly, and is 14 now. Is going for the MLRA Lucas Oil Series Rookie of the Year, and he's pretty sharp, very intelligent. He works on his own car with his grandpa Jerry, and his mom Nikki, and his soon to be stepdad uh, Justin, and his grandma Carmen all help him out. So they got a great team. Then we jump over to another driver we have. So the Gundeckers, Kevin and Tammy run Tri City Speedway, and they've been
Okay.
friends for 20 years. And so we have a car. He's going to drive the number 14 car. I'll drive another 14, but he'll drive the 14T,
Hmm.
and he's also going for Rookie of the Year. He's age 19, very talented driver. He jumped in one of my cars last year at one of the biggest races. It was a championship race for Lucas Oil
Hmm.
MLRA series at the end of the season. Jumped in it, had never been in a car, got it, worked out a little bit. He had had a car break down the night before and really wanted to run this race. He said, could he borrow an engine? I said, hey, we just better get you a car because we don't have time to do all that. But he went out and spanked everybody and won it. So that was a
Wow.
big deal. And yeah, so we're proud of him against some of the best racers in the business. So
Yeah.
uh, Trevor's going to do good. Caden, the racing community is very much like a church family. We know each other, help each other out. Very competitive out on the track. No different from a church family when you argue over religion a little bit. They're the same way out on the track. So it's a great family.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you mentioned Chris Carter, and he working over there at Be Seen Signs, and he's got they're working on our actual sign out at the church over there on Main Street. So
Hmm.
they're getting that all put together, and we appreciate all the work that they're doing and the creative and getting ready to get that up there. So that's good.
Yeah,
We had to get.
they got a really good staff out of BC, and with Mike Ely, he comes from head of IT over at State Tech, and then
Hmm.
Vicky came back in. You got Caleb, you got Tharp, you got Chris Carter, you got man Andy and Paul and Landon and Debbie and Summer, and the list goes on.
You
They're
got a
doing a
long,
great job.
it's a long
Yeah,
list. Absolutely. They do a
yeah.
fantastic job, and it's going to help us because we got that tree knocked down, and you'll be able to see the sign now too. So
There you go. Yeah.
that's good. Hey, also, why don't you tell us about, a little bit more about the car itself? I mean, people don't understand everything that goes into putting together one of those vehicles. Tell us a little bit more detail about that.
Well, I don't get to work on the car because I have to do my other work, but
Yeah.
Chris and Jerry are out there about every night working on cars. Jerry is Caden's grandpa. But so what we started with is a frame that has some brake lines on it that have some rotors on it, and that's about it. And sometimes they come with the sheet metal on it. Sometimes we do it ourselves, but we start kind of like frame up and then put the car together component by component, and we mix the components up. Some guys like this type of engine, some guys like another engine maker, and then certain rear ends. So it's just a bunch of components, and the adjustments on a late model are so many. It's you got to get that right, and there's so much into the shocks and suspension today compared to what the chassis used to be 20 years ago. So
Hmm.
a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you know we had a quick comment from Kelly Jeffries. He said the Wiener Nationals was a great show and talk about a packed house. Great entertainment for everyone, and I'm sure the second annual will be even better. So thank you, Kelly, for that comment.
Yep. So thank you, Kelly. One thing about the Wiener Nationals, it was voted the best single day event in racing across America. So I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't know that, but then I don't know how they do all that.
Yeah.
Maybe just two guys that did it, but no, it was announced and it was really nice feeling that, but everybody worked hard. So our Wiener Nationals, I don't know if you remember the old Porky's 2 movie. That's pretty much what it's like. It's not very, it was a lot going on behind the scenes and falling apart, but out on the stage and everything kept together. We had a great time. Hey, I'd also like to say for Trevor Gundacker, his dad comes and helps. Trevor's dad is a champion all over the place. I mean, he came down to I-70 one time, jumped in one of Mike Crump's cars, never had been in it before, and I think there's 93 cars there,
Wow.
and he set fast time. And then the other guy is Robert, who's been part of their family forever. He's crew chief on the 14 car. So you got Robert on the 14T, you got Chris Carter on the 14M, and you got Jerry Cladd on the 50 Caden
Okay.
Cladd's car. Yeah.
That's a lot going on, Reid.
A lot going on there. Yeah, that's just that. Then we got the racetrack. We got a
Yeah.
lot going on up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the other ones we'll have an ACSC race, I believe that's what, but it's sprint cars. That'll be up a 2 night deal. Then we'll have two memorial races, or another. We'll have a Summer Nationals, which is a big deal. It's UMP Summer Nationals. That that brings racers from all over. Some of the top people in racing, and also at the Wiener Nationals this year, Scott Bloomquist, who is kind of like the evil person or the voodoo doll and super late model. You got to have a evil guy. Well, he's always been known as that, but he's pretty good guy.
Yeah.
He was up here getting his back worked on. I'd suggest you go to a doctor because he's been having tingling in his legs, but it seems to be helping out. So he plans on being up here for the race, and that'll be a lot of fun. He's won more races like at the World 100, which is like the elite race over in Eldora. I think he's won it 8 times. So, but he's controversial, so people like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they like you're right. They like the villain, don't they?
Oh yeah, he's the villain.
All right.
Look him up, Scott Bluequist, and then
All right.
hopefully we'll have Tyler back again and Mike Marlar and a lot of the other guys. Let's see, the Simpson family and uh, Jackson Jr., number 56. I mean, there's a lot of good guys that come up here. So we have a full roster each time, which is really good. And we plan on doing the same this year. We got an incredible safety crew led by Charlie Peel. And we got the president of the racetrack is Galen Hassler, and he's doing an incredible job. He oversaw Callaway, and then we also have let's see, Jason Goebel, who's president of the American Motorsports Association. But through all that, the sergeant major is Renee Reuter. You know Renee.
Yes, I
So
do, and that's
she
awesome.
she
It's
puts
good to have
she
a
puts it
sergeant
all
major.
together. Yeah, she's the sergeant major of everything.
That's
So
great.
she does an incredible job. Phil Smizer up there, a bunch of other guys that work the track. Yeah, it's just we're blessed to have everybody coming together to help out.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, how do people where do they go to look up the events and be able to see what's going on out there and maybe make plans to head up there?
Okay, we just got our website up, and that's coming along really well. We think we feel it's going to be a really good to go to spot. It's Moberly Motorsports Park.com, www and all that stuff, Moberly Motorsports Park.com.
All right, I just put that on the
Yeah.
comments there.
So, you got Jason Pappage. He'll come out of California for that race. He's one of the leading racers in MLRA. Probably Terry Phillips. I mean, we just get a lot of guys from all over the United States. So we appreciate it. Billy Moyer Jr. was there last year. These are big names in racing. You all know them, but people in the racing community know him.
Yeah. So what keeps you coming back? What keeps driving you back?
Well, I enjoy the family aspect of it. All the guys are, we have a good time. When I say guys, their families, everybody. We're
Yeah.
just one big family, and uh, everybody, no matter what you do, if you're a quilter, you need an out. If you're working all day and you like to quilt, you go to the church circle and quilt at night, or if you golf, go out with your buddies golfing, or if you bake pies, you go with your other ladies, go bake some pies. Everybody needs an out. And with my profession, what I see and what I have to do every day, this
Yeah.
is my out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, you know, you talk about every day being a gift, and that's absolutely right, especially with, um, I mean, you're dealing with families that are at their, I'm just going to say a lot of them, their worst moment or the most difficult moment for them. And you guys do such an outstanding job, professionalism, and just showing compassion and care. From the different services that I do, your team is outstanding, and I really appreciate how much they really care and put that forth.
Well, I appreciate that. Jeff City is lucky. They got great funeral homes. Not all communities are like that. And Columbia's the same way, and, down at the lake. So we appreciate families that choose us, and we try
Hmm.
to go the extra mile to give them exceptional service.
And you do. Uh, I want to go ahead and ask you this question. Reed, how would you encourage kids who have a passion for motorsports? How could they proceed for their dreams to possibly get into racing?
Well, I think the best thing that they could do is go to the racetrack and then go down and help out, whether it be a four-cylinder street stock, just go there on a regular basis. And if they do that, I'm thinking they'll probably get a chance to get in somebody's car,
Hmm.
especially if you're a young kid don't have a lot of backing, or, your parents may not be into that and think you're crazy for doing it. Just go out to the racetracks and be a part of the track, and hopefully catch a ride. You look at Carl Edwards, everybody thought he was dealt a silver spoon. That's not how Carl grew up. He came out to the track. His dad's one of the smartest guys that come on, when it comes to racing, Carl Sr. But Carl came on his own, and he had a really sharp buddy. I guess he's kind of computer guy, and he figured things out, and they set their suspension up, and he had great success, and he gave out a little business card, and a lot of people know about that. Say, if you need a driver, I'm your man kind of card, and
Uh-huh.
he passed that around, and, eventually he got up to Midler Brothers, I think it's called, out over there by St. Charles in a truck, and then somebody
Hmm.
else, I think Roush Racing noticed him, and pretty soon he had 2 wins at Atlanta the next year. So
Yeah.
there you go. It can
Yeah.
be done.
That's right. Now, he got into
Yeah.
that real quick, and then, as far as career wise, he got out pretty quickly as well.
Yeah, I think his wife Kate, she's a doctor, rehab doctor up at
Hmm.
Rusk. And anyway, I had actually broken my back 2 different times racing, but she kind of took care of me. But I'm sure she said to Carl, said, "Hey, we got kids now. You better
Yeah,
get out of there
absolutely.
before something happens." So, but I don't know. I don't get in his business. I don't know what he did there, but I believe he did all right while he's in NASCAR.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did. He did. You brought that up. Talk about the physical toll that it takes driving.
Well, if your car's bad, and on a dirt track, and if it's been raining, you got a lot of ruts. I mean, you come out of that, you're beat to death. It's not like
Hmm.
driving asphalt, you know. And dirt late models and dirt cars, asphalt is the way you get to the real racetrack. So
Hmm. Hmm.
anyway, so when you get to dirt racing, that's why you see a lot of the dirt track racers winning the big races at NASCAR, because they got that feel in there where you slide and bump, and
Yeah.
I feel because they've slid so much and have to catch a car, they can catch a car pretty good. And you'll see
Right.
him, the announcers announce or talk about, hey, he's out there dirt track, like Clint Boyer or one of them, because the car's going sideways. A lot of guys will lose it and they can catch it. So
Yeah.
I think it's important. A lot of them come on a dirt track if they're going to want to run NASCAR. Speaking of, I think it's April 9th, Bristol is going to be back at dirt for
Okay.
NASCAR. And so the truck races and I think the cup races will be there. I raced Bristol a couple years ago when it was dirt. It's a fast track, but that's, high bank, fast. You don't have to have a lot of finesse. That's my best kind of track. So get these little slick ones. I don't have a lot of finesse, but we'll hit somebody for it anyway.
Yeah, that's
So,
right. That's good. I just got a couple more questions, and then we'll hit our quick speed
okay.
round again to let you go. But we talked about the physical toll, but tell us a little bit about as far as wearing the gear. Does it get pretty hot? I mean, you've got different temperatures, things like that that's going
Yeah.
on around you.
So the thing I have a really good air system, but um, and that's to keep me breathing cool and so forth, and keep the dust out. But like NASCAR, I think I use some sort of cool system. I
Hmm.
don't use that. I know some guys do. It's a good way to lose 6 or 8 pounds on a weekend. So it can get pretty hot in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine that. All right. Well, you've hit that real well, and I don't want to take much more of your time, but I do have a few speed round questions that I want to ask you. And this is in honor of Jay, who couldn't be with
Okay.
us tonight. But what's the fastest lap that you've gone around a track, and where was that?
Oh, I can tell you right now, it's 2005. Probably around mid January. We're at Golden Owl Speedway. It's known as the fastest track in America. I'll tell you a little story about it. So I didn't have any of my crew go down. So Billy Moyer and they're my age, and Bloomquist said they'll pit my car for me, right? So I go out for the time trials, which is green white checkered, and they take your best time. There's 38 cars there. 34 of them race professionally. There's four of us that don't, and I came in 38th
All right.
out of 38. So I came
Yeah.
in last. Okay, so that's all right. So I
That's all
come
right.
back off. They see 2 laps. They reset my car. I go out there 13th, right?
Uh-huh.
Within about 4 or 5 laps, I'm up to fifth. And I get up to fifth, and I said, if I stay in this spot, I'll be straight into the race. So Mr. Moyer, that's Billy's dad, he had 4 cars there, all unprofessional, all very good. And he had only one made it, one to make it in to the straight into the race without running a what they call B feature consi. And he says, because I was a little heavier at that time, he says, "Hey, here's Fat Boy coming down from Missouri, doesn't even know how to race a car." And, and he's in the race. Can you believe that? And so now we go out for the big race, and there's a guy by the name of Daryl Lanigan. It's back in, I think, January of 2005. We're out on a track, and it takes him about 7 laps to get by me. I was going to become a lap car. I would pull him down the straightaway 4 or 5 car lengths, and then he'd catch me in the turn. I'd pull him down the straightaway. But the highway patrol, the Georgia Highway Patrol had a gun out on us on the back straightaway, caught us at 174 mile an hour side by
Wow.
side. So there's a big picture on the front page of the late model news back in the day. And Daryl Lanigan obviously gets credit because he's the winner. But they said, Reid, I think you're going faster than him. But that that's probably one of my highlights of racing
Yeah.
because that's the fastest ever on dirt.
Yeah. That's
174 mile an hour on a short track.
that's amazing.
That's a lot of G forces. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun though.
absolutely. Ever had ever had any accidents, big accidents?
Okay, had two. One was at Lamont, which is just west of Sedalia. So it just had begun to rain, and a car got turned around on me, turned three, and I went up over his car and then just ejected out over the racetrack, and
Mm.
it's probably about a 25-foot drop upside down and hit the ground, bounce back up, back on wheels, hit the ground again, bounce back up on wheels. So it crushed the top down and broke my helmet, the top of my helmet.
Wow.
And uh, I remember the paramedic, a lady paramedic says, she reached down there and says, you got a broken back. And Yeah, that was. I just stayed calm. I mean, it took them a while to get me out of there, and I remember the helicopter was landing from wherever they came from, and I still wasn't out of there. But they got me out, and they flew me over to St. Luke's and over in Kansas City. And they I had a brand new suit. They cut it off, stripped it all down. I was just glad I wasn't in St. Mary's where they all knew me. So anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a
but
little.
I recovered. I recovered from that, and then I go get some treatments, soft tissue treatments and stretches up at. I do that, uh, and that seems to help. And I don't have any back pain at all. But I had another one down at Lucas Speedway where I broke my back. But actually, I broke it the night before. I had some friends in from Texas, and we actually stopped by the emergency room. Uh, Stopped by the emergency room at the lake, and it was taking so long, so I just went on home. We went down and raced the next night. I raced at Lebanon, started out 18th, ended up third, and then found out I had a broken back because
Wow.
I couldn't move hardly. So
That's that's not a good thing to find out, is it? Man. Oh,
RA raced at Lucas Speedway, and then the following week up to Tri City in St. Louis Pontoon Beach area.
wow. All right. So golfers, they like to go uh, play at Pebble Beach. Where's the place that you would really like to go that you haven't raced yet? Think we might have lost him there. All right, everyone. Hey, we've had Reid Millard on the program with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, and I will get in touch with him. Thank him for everybody that he's joined us tonight. Lots of good stuff with Millard Family Racing, and again with Millard Family Chapels. Just all the different things that Reid and his group does. So we might have him back on here. We'll see here real quick. Reid, are you there?
Yeah, I'm back in. You may not see me. I don't see
Yeah,
myself
no,
on there.
no,
So,
you're okay. I'm just telling them thank you for being on the program tonight, and we appreciate everything that you've done in the community and you continue to do.
hey, I'd like to say this: Wiener Nationals, which is a huge race, is about 5,000 people. It's the Sunday Labor Day weekend. Starts about 4 in the afternoon. It's a great time. If you have kids, they'll absolutely love it. We have a pit party before where the kids all come down, have bounce houses and everything. But the entertainment for the kids is a lot of fun too. Besides the racing, we usually have a lot of other great stuff. So get a chance, stop up and see it. Everybody talks about it.
And when is that again?
That's going to be Sunday Labor Day weekend. So like September 3rd or 4th in there somewhere.
Okay, I'm gonna put
5th,
Sunday
whatever that is. Yeah.
Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day week 2023. Yeah.
All right, I'm putting it on there. We got it on there. Okay. Hey,
Yeah,
thanks for
and they can
thank.
go to yeah, I was going to say they can go mobile or www moberly motorsportspark.com. Yeah,
Okay,
that's it. So they can go
perfect.
there and figure it out. Yeah.
Very good. Hey, Reid, thank you so much. And again, appreciate everything you do. Appreciate you coming on the program tonight. And again, I know everybody that loves racing, they appreciated all the knowledge and everything that you share and the opportunities that you're giving Mid Missouri to be able to go and enjoy racing. So thank you
Well, we
again.
appreciate it. And one other thing I'd like to say shout out to Worldwide Technology because they really supported us last year, and they have Worldwide Technology support their Worldwide Technology Raceway up in used to be Gateway
Okay.
uh, racetrack in St. Louis. But that was a sold out crowd in today's NASCAR. That doesn't always happen. So all the people over at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and especially my friend Dave Stewart, who's CEO and chairman of the board of Worldwide. Appreciate him. Appreciate you and your team,
Well,
Kirk.
well, thank you very much. And uh, I love this. This was great. I got to learn some more stuff too. I mean, I thought I knew quite a bit, but I learned quite a bit more. So that's great. Uh, I just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Had an interview with Reid Millard of Millard Family Racing and Millard Family Chapels. Great man, great organization. Make sure you check out moberlymotorsportspark.com for information about different events that are going to be in 2023. And make sure you get ready for the Wiener Nationals on Labor Day weekend. This is your host, Kirk DeMars of One Nation, a Sports Soccer Magazine Extra. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.